Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Tiff from Journal with Tiff, and today I'm going to be reviewing my pens that were inked that I was displaying for the month of October. So I chose a select group of pens that I felt like really just gave me that initial fall vibe. And I really am happy with the pen choices. I'm happy with the ink choices. Now the question is, how did I enjoy them together? How was the pairings? So let me go ahead and remove my handy dandy little cheat sheet. Anytime I journal, I choose a different pen, and I can't remember what ink is in each pen off the top of my head. So I kind of have a little cheat sheet so that I can document what pen and ink I used for that moment, because sometimes I do go back and look at what I wrote. I, just go back and read my journals, especially if it's like this time last year, or did I use this pen ink combination before? And I just need to know. So yeah, let's go ahead and get going. The first pen I used was the Waterman Carene, and this is in the Marine Amber. A lot to say about this particular one. So first of all, I have this inked with Colorverse Hubble Zoom. I adore Colorverse inks. I have realized initially my two favorite ink brands were Pilot Iroshizuku and Diamine. I think I can attach Colorverse to the list of that's like my top three ink brands. Sorry, I can't even get my words out today. And I just got this pen not long ago, so this was my first time really inking it. And I got the fine nib, and I liked the pen. I liked the pen, and I know I liked the ink, but there was just something missing, something not right. So when I first did my October Currently Inked video, I let you know that I got this in a fine nib. However, last weekend, Crazy Allen's Emporium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, had a little tiny mini pen show, and they had the pen connoisseur there doing custom grinds, and I got a cursive italic grind, and that let me know that I love this pen with a particular grind. The fine nib alone just didn't do it for me. The colorway is just beautiful. I mean, this reddish brown with the gold trim is just gorgeous. The comfort level of this pen is just, it's really, really good. I'm trying to think if it could be just a hair wider, it would be just absolute perfection. But this is not a bad size by any stretch of the imagination. And I want you to see, kind of focus here. So the first line was last month, and that was with the fine nib. And here is with my thoughts of it with the fine cursive italic. So I just like the look of the writing. It just, that nib, the grind just made the writing experience so much better. Please excuse me. I've got like stuff going on. I'm trying to keep my mind straight here on what I'm trying to tell you. But yeah, I think having the particular grind on this pen just made it so much better. So here is the ink. And this is my writing, my thoughts with the new grind for this pen. And I love it. I adore it. I adore the pen. I am going to get more. I'm not sure exactly what my next one will be. I would love to get the sea green shimmer. I would love to get the black with the gold trim, just because it's so freaking classy. And I'm not sure exactly what else is out there. that I'll be able to get my hands on. But this pen ink pairing was perfection once I got the custom grind, and oops, I will definitely pair them again. Next is my TWSBI Eco. This has a fine nib, and this is in the Cafe Bronze. And I have this inked with Diamine Walnut. What can I say about it? First of all, this is an Eco, so we know it's a workhorse. I did not give it a complete fill. As you can see, like I didn't close it all the way. There's still a little space here because I did not want to fill it up 100%. I knew I was not going to utilize all the ink that this pen has the capacity to hold. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you can see that. I called myself reaching forward a lot just so that I could use a lot of the ink. But I felt like I was going nowhere with this ink. No, not a problem with the pen ink combination. It's just, it held so much. So for long writing sessions, this is such a comfortable pen. No problems with it. What with the pen itself, this is in a fine nib and it has Diamine Walnut. If you look, it's like a dark dusty brown with just a little bit of green sheen around the edges. I didn't have a problem with it. The color of the ink, I do wish I had chosen a color with just a little bit more pop, because that's my only drawback. It's kind of just the aesthetic of it. I have such a beautiful pen, and the ink that I chose is such a flat brown. So when I look at them together, and yes, I do kind of just look at the aesthetic between my pen and my ink, it just falls flat for me. So the combination was great for comfort level. Ink flow was great. No issues other than for the colorway of this pen. I wish I had chosen a better ink color. So, I mean, I would pair it again. There's no reason why I shouldn't, but I think the only complaint was it was just kind of a drab color that I chose. Next was my Bone Crusher 7 Studio, and this is in the pistachio. Excuse me. This has an extra fine Yovo nib, and I have it inked with Diamine Ancient Copper. I know I've said it once, twice, so many times. I am obsessed with Bone Crusher 7 Studios, and I feel like that's such a mouthful. So I'm just going to say Bone Crusher from here on out. But Diamine Ancient Copper is a very well-known, to most people that I come in contact with, a very well-known ink. It is gorgeous, and it is like this orange brown color with a little bit of a green sheen around the edges. If you couldn't see the green sheen of the walnut, I can see it in this view, just like I can see it here. There's a little bit of green sheen there. And in the writing, this is the smoothest extra fine Yovo nib I've ever used. And the like copper or caramel chips in this pen go so well. The pairing is just so freaking, I love it. It's so pretty, so pretty. The flow was excellent. The comfort level was excellent. The aesthetic is excellent. And just this pen by itself, it screams fall. It's got a little bit of light green, super dark green, a light caramel color, and then it goes down to like a coppery color. This is just, it's autumn. It's fall on a pen. I don't know what else to say about it. That is one of my favorite pens to use in the fall aesthetic wise, but the pairing was just perfection. No problems, no qualms whatsoever. Would definitely pair it again. Next is my Pilot Capless, aka Vanishing Point. I have this as in an extra fine gold nib, and it is inked with Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber. I had two Vanishing Points. The other was the like forest green color, the Taiwan Anniversary Edition. I did sell that one. I just wasn't reaching for it a lot, and I think it had to do with the colorway. I kind of went through a green phase, and I'm kind of still in it, but for some reason, I wasn't reaching for that particular pen. If I was reaching for a Vanishing Point, it was this one. There was nothing wrong with it, but this colorway just speaks to me. And inking it with Steeped Umber, one of my favorite inks. Ferris Wheel Press is known for me, in my experience, can be very drying, but Steeped Umber was not. It just ate. I loved it. This rich kind of medium reddish brown, and it had such great flow. It just wrote so smooth out of this gold nib, and just the comfort level of this pen. I was so afraid of getting a Vanishing Point before I got my very first one. I was so afraid of that clip being in the way, but it's not. It's like your fingers just fall in the right spot. So no problems. Would absolutely repair this ink and pen combination. Next is my Walltown pen in Calico Koi. This came with, I bought the secondhand, and it came with medium Yovo nib. And I went ahead and got it because I wanted the pen. I'm like, I can always change my nib. I can get a, put on a different Yovo nib. But then I realized that my Estabrook nib would fit, and this is in a fine. And so it wrote beautifully. I mean, look at this. This is my #2 fall pen. I wish it didn't have so much of the white. This side right here is what gets me. Look at that. Gosh, that is just gorgeous. And oh, with the cap. Look at that. And we're just going to stare at it for a moment. I love it. I love it. But yes, so back to the ink. I inked this with Venta Ochre 1797. And this is another kind of orangey, reddish brown. Leans a little bit more orange with a black sheen around the edges. When I say super wet, not in a bad way, I adored how this wrote. This pen was super comfortable. The threads, my fingers did not, even if my fingers touched it, they feel really flat. So there was no discomfort. It's the perfect length. These amber colored finials, I mean, it just screams fall. The pen ink combination was perfection, and I loved it. Okay, next was my Montegrappa Venetia in the Conifer colorway. I got this pen, was it this year or last year? This past year at the Atlanta Pen Show, and fell in love with it when I saw it. But let me show you something. This is the second time this has happened to me. Before I go there, this is inked with Diamine Olive Swirl. So first, let's look at this first. Olive Swirl is olive colored green ink with kind of a, I guess this is kind of a silver shimmer to it, and a silvery green shimmer. There you go. You can see it. And I do not normally draw up shimmer in my pens. I don't know what possessed me to do with this particular one because it's already an extra fine, and it is a super extra fine nib. And I didn't draw up much of it. As a matter of fact, I don't think I drew up any of it. I tried not to draw up much because if you can look at the name of the pen and ink, it just looked like all you see is green. You don't see much of the, I don't see any of the shimmer at all. But if you look at my comments here, this is the second time I've had issues where it's like it just gets clogged, and all of a sudden the ink just starts looking really dark. I barely could tell that this was like a green ink. Like, what happened? Look at this, guys. Can you see that? See where it's clogged? And I get like crumbs on top coming out of the nib. This happened once before, and I had it inked with kind of a lighter golden brown. I think I had it inked with, what ink did I have it with? I had it inked with Robert Oster African Gold. So it's like that color. So my assumption was because it's a lighter ink, you know, it was drying out more, but I didn't draw up the shimmer. And if I did, it was like minute. And I've never had a problem with Olive Swirl. I've used it before in other pens, but this is the second time. This is the only pen that I get these crumbs on. And I left it. I was going to clean it off. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not, because I want to show this. And so when I go to write with it, I mean, it'll write because I was just now writing with it. See that hard start? I have to really, really kind of give a little bit of pressure to make it right, or kind of just scribble with it a little bit, take a warm cloth and wipe down the nib to get it writing again. So it was not the best experience. And I'm hoping maybe next time I'm just going to choose like one of my wettest inks, you know, like a super wet ink to test and try in this pen and see if that makes a difference. But as for right now, this pen and ink combination was a no-go for me. I will not be doing that again. And I'm going to try this pen one more time with the super wet ink and hopefully not have the same issues. If I do, I'm gonna have to rethink my relationship with this pen. So that's that. And lastly is my Pelikan M800, my beloved brown black. And I had this inked with Colorverse string. I love this pen. I was not the biggest fan of this combination, partly because I had this ground earlier this year to a needlepoint. This is my second needlepoint, and it's pretty sharp. But I've never had this much of an issue with it feeling scratchy. So Colorverse string is this kind of a lighter golden brown. It has gorgeous shading. Even with the needlepoint, I can see shading here. But it was just, I feel like it was just, I need a wetter ink for this particular nib. So I will not pair the Colorverse string with this particular pen, the M800. I'm not going to pair this again. I really think that I need a wetter ink. So between this and my Montegrappa, I don't know if it'll be in my next currently inked, because I always have pens inked outside of what I show on my currently inked. I have a bunch of pens, but these, when I do a currently inked video, I'm going over the ones that I kind of want to showcase and just show off those combinations. But like in the middle of the month, I constantly am inking, changing inks, you know, oh, let's try this pen, that ink. So I will definitely try this again and let you guys know my thoughts on this and my Montegrappa especially, to see if, well, I know another ink will work with this one because I've had another ink in this and it worked fine. The Montegrappa, I just don't know. I've just not had good experience with that one. But this one, the only reason I won't pair it again is just because I feel like this Colorverse was not quite wet enough for this particular nib. And that's it. That's all of my pens for the month. I am currently trying to figure out what I'm going to be inking for next month. And it's just a fun process, you know, going through and having the select group of pens that I'm focusing on, and just giving reviews and trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like. I do, like I said, come back and refer to my ink journal here, because I don't know, I might look at pick up this pen again 6 months from now. I'm like, did I ever ink that? Did I ever try using Colorverse string? And I actually have a spreadsheet as well, so it's easier to find instead of flipping through this entire book. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and consider subscribing, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.